everyone, it's Alice, and today we're doing the second to last part of my bookshelf tour. And today we're going to take a look at my historical fiction books, my adventure books, and my contemporary novels. Adventure is one of my favorite genres to read, as you may know, but I have a really hard time finding adventure books that I really like, and just like adventure books for adults in general, I just find them very difficult to find. So my adventure shelf is actually just like 2/3 of a shelf, but I do have quite a lot of historical fiction books and a good chunk of contemporary novels, so we have a little bit of a mix today. I also have a few romance books. I don't read a lot of romance, but I have a few, so I thought I would just throw them in today too. Let's start with my adventure books. This is on the top shelf, so the angle isn't great, but we're just gonna work with it. Over here we actually have a few that I haven't read. I think both of these are kind of like pirate books. This is a beautiful book. It's the Amalfi Curse, and I haven't read this one. I think this is about a shipwreck. And then Salt Blood. These look kind of like similar. Salt Blood is a pirate book, I think. It's like historical fiction, and I think we follow a female pirate. Then we have this one, which I didn't get too long ago. This is The Stardust Thief, and it sounded kind of like adventure-y with like a quest or something, so I'm excited about that. Then we have Empire of Shadows, which I love. This is like the closest book I've found to sort of the same vibe as The Mummy, the movie, so I love this one. I really need to get the second one, and this is just a lot of fun. These two books are in a duology. The first one is What the River Knows. The second one is What the Library Hides. I've only read the first one, but I really enjoyed it. It's like historical fiction set in Egypt. This one is a book that I've had for ages. I've almost gotten rid of this a couple of times, but I feel like I'm gonna try it before I do. I'm not sure I'm gonna like it. Then we have Master of Jinn, another one that I haven't read, and Tress of the Emerald Sea, which I also haven't read, but I've heard a lot of amazing things about this one. This stack is sort of a mishmash of read and not read. I haven't read Relic or The Eight. Washington Black is a really good one. This is a book in Norwegian, which I haven't read. The Small Country is actually another version of Empire of Shadows. This is like the first way it was published, and then it was republished as Empire of Shadows. Miss Benson's Beetle is one of my favorite books ever. It's so good. This one is really good as well. And then maybe my favorite adventure book of all time is like The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. This is beautiful. I was gonna try not to take the stack out, but I do actually need to show you this one. This edition is beautiful with the foil, and it has like really nice end papers. This is like a map of the world. I love this book. I thought it was so much fun, and I think that the sequel is coming out next year, and I'm super excited about it. Moving on, we have my historical fiction shelves, where I have a lot of different things, and I have a lot of historical fiction, about 3.5 shelves, so we have a lot to go through. Starting over here, we have these two books, which I haven't read. This, I can't remember what this is about, but this one is a witch book. Then we have this beautiful book. This is The Essex Serpent, which I have in this beautiful edition. I know not everyone likes this book. It's a little weird, but I really enjoyed it, and I do also really enjoy this cover design. The Fair Fight is a book that I read years ago now, but I really enjoyed it. It's about like female wrestlers, which I thought was really interesting. Then we have Love and Fury, which I read I think this year, and I really enjoyed it. It's like inspired by true events, and it's about Mary Wollstonecraft, which I thought was very interesting. The Shadow of the Wind is a book that I still haven't read. I think I'm gonna love this book, but I'm also scared to read it for some reason, but I really need to read this one. This is also a book on my TBR that everyone tells me I'm really gonna like. Salt and Broom is a historical fiction retelling of Jane Eyre, which I'm really looking forward to, but this feels like a fall book to me, so I'm gonna try to read it when it's like that season. The Impossible Girl is on my TBR. What the Wind Knows is on my TBR. I've had this for a really long time. Great Circle, also on my TBR. I have a lot of these that I haven't read. On the top here, we have this, which is on my TBR. We have this, which I've read and really liked. It's kind of weird, but I feel like it's a little underrated. It's very interesting. And then Opium and Absinthe, also by Lydia Kang. And I have read this one, which is why I got this other one. And I really enjoyed this one. We have another of my many editions of The Secret History, which I got just because it's very pretty. We also have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which I don't talk about very often, but this is actually also an excellent book. It's really, really good. And I really should reread this, but it's a little long, so we'll see when I have time to do that. The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I also haven't read, but I really like this cover. Beauty is a Wound is another book by Eka Kurniawan, the same author who wrote Man Tiger that I just mentioned. And this is also super weird, but very interesting. These three books are all in the same series. The first one is The Strings of Murder. This is historical fiction set in Edinburgh. And I really enjoyed this first one, but I still haven't read these two. The Hexologists, I haven't read, but I have read this one. This is Perfume. This is also kind of like horror, and it's one of my favorite like horror books that I've ever read. It's so, like, the way that things are described in this book are just excellent. It's so, so good. The Familiars, I haven't read, but as you may know, I just read this book, The 13th Tale. This is one of my favorite books that I've read this year. It was so amazing, and I loved it. And I do have another one of this author's books here, which I now really want to read. The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. I haven't read, but I really want to read more Margaret Atwood, so I should. And then The Witches of New York is another witchy book that I really liked. This next shelf is kind of messy, but you know, this is just how it is. On the top here, we have Briefly a Delicious Life, which I read, I think, this year, and I really enjoyed. We also have this book in Norwegian. I kind of hate this cover, but this book, like, they made a movie adaptation of this, which I saw when I was quite young in school, actually, and I've seen that movie several times, and I think it's excellent, so I do want to read the book as well. This is actually, despite what it looks like, kind of like a dark academia book. In English, I think the title is Evil, which is what this translates to. The Secret Wisdom of the Earth is a book that I've had for a really long time, and I don't even know what this is about anymore, but I've kept it. The Personal Librarian is on my TBR. The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman, also on my TBR. I also haven't read this one, but it is beautiful. Like, this cover design is just excellent. This does feel like a summary book to me based on the cover, but yeah, I really want to read it. The Sport of Kings is also a book that I read a long time ago, but I actually really like this one. I know a lot of people really dislike it, but I really enjoyed it. We have Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, which I loved. We have this book, Tales of Perfection, which I actually got from one of you sent this to me, and I really want to read this one, but it's one of those books that I'm sort of like saving because I think I'm gonna love it, but yeah, I still have this. Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, you might know, is one of my favorite books. I love this one. I also really like this cover, actually, and I think they're making a movie out of this, which I'm a little skeptical about, but I did love the book. The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden is on my TBR. The Strays is a beautiful book that I have. This is kind of underrated as well, but I loved this one. And then The Manning Tree Witches is also still my TBR. In this stack, I think we have mostly books that I haven't read. I guess it's kind of like a mix. We have Dead Poets Society, which I want to read. This I want to read. I haven't read these ones. The Good People I have read, and I really, really like this one. It's excellent historical fiction. I haven't read this one or this one. Sometimes a River Song is really underrated. And then these ones I've had for a really long time, and I still haven't read them, but one day I hope I will. Then over here we have Purge, which I think I got from a friend a long time ago, and I still haven't read. We have The Lost Apothecary, haven't read. The Vanishing Half, which I have read and really liked. Ask Again, yes, I read and I loved. Circus of Wonders has an excellent cover, but I haven't read it. The Pull of the Stars, I also haven't read, but I really want to. Like I said, I have a lot of these that I haven't read. And then The Lamplighters by Emma Stone X, which I also haven't read. Beneath that, we have another kind of messy shelf. And on the top here, we have The Color Purple, which is one of my favorite books that I've ever read. Actually, this is an excellent, excellent book. We have The Narrow Road to the Deep North, which is a book that I think is gonna make me cry, so I'm scared to read it. We have The Sleepwalker's Guide to Dancing, which I've had for ages, haven't read. I haven't read this one or this one. I have read this one though, which is another weird one, but I really liked this one. I've never heard anyone talk about it, but I really liked it. Go Set a Watchman is the sequel to Kill a Mockingbird, which I haven't read, but I do have it. And then The Dictionary of Lost Words, I also haven't read. In this stack, we have The Deathless Girls at the top here, which I haven't read, but it has a really, really nice cover. I love foil, as you might know. I haven't read any of these ones, but I have read a couple of John Boyne books, A Ladder to the Sky and The Heart's Invisible Furies. Both of these are excellent books, and I really recommend them if you like these kinds of books. A Ladder to the Sky does have a very, very unlikable main character though, so if you don't like reading about those kinds of characters, you're not gonna like that one. This little book at the top here, Small Things Like These. I think this is set during Christmas or something, so maybe I should put this aside and try and read it in December, actually. The Savage Instinct, I have not read yet, and I haven't read The Frozen River, but obviously this looks like a very wintry book. And then here we have Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, which I read this year, and this has so, like, shocking twists that I gasped when I read this book. Song of Solomon, I haven't read, but I have read Lady Macbeth. I really enjoyed this book. I don't think most people would, but I really liked it. We have some Zora Neale Hurston and Gabriel Garcia Marquez, The Magician's Daughter, which I haven't read. This one that I've had for a really long time. Again, foil, but I haven't read it. We have this beautiful edition of 100 Years of Solitude. I think that I'm really gonna like this book, but I've had it for a long time and I still haven't read it, so I really need to do that. Then we have The Secret Garden, which is one of my favorite books from childhood. This is a really pretty edition. I haven't read this one. And then this is a book in Norwegian, actually, that I read probably 15 years ago and I really liked it. I don't know if I would like it now, but I liked it when I read it. Victorian Psycho has an excellent cover, and this is actually weirdly a book set in December, so it's kind of perfect to read for Christmas if you want something that is not at all Christmassy. This is great. I also have this random Ernest Hemingway book that I got from my grandfather, and he really liked Hemingway, so I want to keep that. And then this is actually maybe the oldest book that I own and that I've had for the longest. It's kind of like wrecked. But I read this when I was like 14 or something, and I just absolutely loved it. Like, I fell in love with it. And then I think I had borrowed this from like a friend of my parents, and she ended up giving this to me. And don't ask me what this was about or anything. I don't know if I'll ever read it again, but I loved it. Then on the bottom shelf, this is like next to my graphic novels, which I've already shown you. I do have some historical fiction here, and I think I have a few romance books here actually, which I can also show you. We have Find Me by Andrea Asimon. This is the follow-up to Call Me By Your Name, which I loved. This is historical fiction, I think, not romance. We have Fake Dates and Mooncakes, which I got because it looked cute, and it has a dog on the cover. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, I got because I love witch books. The Song of Achilles, which is one of my favorite romance books that I've ever read, but it is also historical fiction. And then we have Call Me By Your Name, which is one of my favorite romance books. I don't read a lot of romance, but when it's like this, I do really love it. Obviously, some of the other books that I also have on these shelves have romance in them, but I don't have that many, like, straight up romance books, so they don't have their own shelf yet. This is the last stack of historical fiction, and here we have some of my favorite witchy books. This is the Practical Magic series by Alice Hoffman, which you might know, that I love. I think Magic Lessons might be my favorite out of these. It's the one that's the most historical fiction, actually, but I loved it. Most of these last ones are actually books that I haven't read yet. I haven't read this or this. I have read this, It's really good. Haven't read, have read, and then all of these ones I've just had. Actually, I've read this one, but these three I've had for a really long time and I should read them, but I just haven't done it yet. Lastly, we're gonna take a look at my contemporary shelves, and it's actually funny to me that I only have 2 of these shelves because I feel like I read a lot of contemporary fiction, but I don't think I do, but in my mind I read a lot of these books, but yeah, I have 2 shelves. Starting over here, we have a book squeezed in, which is one of my favorite books ever. This is Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukigawa. This is an excellent, very sweet book that I recommend to everyone. Girl, Woman, Other, I've read and I really enjoyed. Transcendent Kingdom, I haven't read, but I think I'm going to enjoy. We have another wintry book here, Away with the Penguins, which I got because it follows an elderly main character, which for some reason I really like in books. This is a translated book that I haven't read. Haven't read this one or this one, but I have read this, which is like a quiet, very sweet, sort of like, it's a story about a woman in her 30s who are lost, which I find very relatable. Boy Parts by Eliza Clark is a book that I really liked, but I don't know if I would really recommend it because it's a lot, but I thought it was very interesting. This is a book that I read a long time ago that I really enjoyed. Strange Weather in Tokyo by Harumi Kawakami is actually one of my favorite books. Super weird. I don't recommend it very often because I don't think most people would like it, but I love it. Both of these books are books that I feel like I'm going to love, although I don't really know why. I haven't read this one, but I have read Queenie, which is an excellent book. Everything I Never Told You by Celestine is also really good. I haven't read this one or this one, but I think I'm really gonna like them. And I also haven't read this, but I've heard a lot of great things about this one. Fresh Water for Flowers by Valerie Perrot is another one of my favorite books. I think this is so good. I think about this book all the time, and I actually want to reread it soon because I loved it so much. When I Hit You, I read many years ago now, but it's quite a harrowing book and I think about it occasionally. Hello Beautiful, I haven't read. This book I haven't read. This is a translated book, which looks really good. This is another translated book, which also looks really good. And then we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which actually I have never read, believe it or not, but I really should. This stack over here is just a mishmash. We have The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I am keeping because I'm going to try it, but I don't think I'm going to like it. We have a mermaid book. These ones I haven't read. The Housekeeper and the Professor I have read, and it's excellent, but I actually think most of these are books that I haven't read. I read this. This is a book in Norwegian, but I read this like when I was 13 or something, and I should reread it. But we do have another Valerie Perrot here, which I really want to read. The last shelf for today is this. I know there's been a lot of books in this episode, but this is the last shelf. We have a book in Norwegian up here, which I don't know what this is about because someone gave it to me and they thought I would like it, so I'm gonna try it. People Person by Candice Carty-Williams I got because I loved Queenie so much, but I haven't read this yet. This is an excellent book. This is a book in Norwegian that one of my best friends loved, so I'm excited to read that. Convenience Store Woman is another one of my favorites. Kind of weird, but I really liked it. Tin Man by Sarah Winman is an excellent book. I read this quite a long time ago now, but I really want to reread it. I remember this just absolutely shattered me, and it was just so good. This one I haven't read, and then we have another book in Norwegian, which I really should read. This like took Norway, or at least Oslo, by storm a few years ago, and this is actually like set in an area of Oslo, which is very close to where I grew up, so I think that's going to be very interesting. Story for Obedience is a book that I really like the cover of, and this is one of those books that is kind of lowly rated on Goodreads, but I have a feeling that I'm really going to like it. I also think I'm really gonna like Lincoln and the Bardo, but most people do like this. I do like this cover though. Like this kind of cover design, I just really like. Big Swiss is a book that looks and sounds absolutely insane, but I'm gonna give it a go because it sounds interesting. The Then we have The Mothers by Britt Bennett, which I haven't read. I have read, I think, most of these though. I read this one, I really liked it. Haven't read, but I've read all of these ones. And all of these ones are actually books that I think about regularly. Stay With Me, A Place for Us, Little Fires Everywhere, which is one of my favorites. And then This Green and Pleasant Land is actually a book I feel is very underrated, but it's amazing. And I would recommend it to everyone, in particular because there is a character in this book which I feel like everyone should get to know because she's amazing. Excavations I haven't read, but I have read Welcome to the Hunyumdung Bookshop. We also have this book on the top, which I haven't read, but I really like the mushrooms on it. I have two books by Sally Rooney. I have Normal People and Intermezzo. Both of these were actually 5-star reads for me, and I loved both of them. But the other books that I've tried by Sally Rooney haven't worked for me, so she only works for me in some ways, but Intermezzo is one of my favorite books that I read this year. The Unseen World by Liz Moore, I think is really underrated. I really like this one. I think this is signed, actually. Yeah, so Liz Moore wrote a little message to me here because we did a thing together years ago, so I still have this. Lastly, for the shelf, we have my Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie books. My favorite out of these ones is Americana, and I have these cool editions. And then Dream Count is a book that she came out with recently that I'm really, really excited to read because I really like her writing, and she hasn't published anything in a while, so I'm really looking forward to this. I have a feeling that I'm really gonna like it. You know how it is though, I keep saying that I want to read all of these books and I only have so much time, but one day I will read this. Alright, I think that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you very much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you soon. Bye!